Shalom, sisters. I haven't addressed my sisters in a while, but I felt compelled to do so today. And basically, what I'm going to be talking about are the stereotypes that so-called black women are faced with. And my main thing that I want to say is, sisters, don't confirm the stereotypes about black women. Don't confirm them, okay? And the reason I'm addressing this is because more and more we are starting to see a lot of our women are getting beside themselves, and they're projecting this behavior onto the younger generations. And I'm talking about all kinds of attitudes, all types of behaviors, right? But thankfully, I'm still realistic enough to see that they do not represent the majority of so-called black women. But the problem we're having is this: everyone who wants to demonize so-called black women, they go over to this minority of black women to try to paint us all with that paintbrush. They don't want to go to the so-called black women who are out in the field planting gardens, those who are taking care of their children, those who are teaching their children, running their own business, working in the community, teaching and doing all kinds of things. Those who are aviators, you see, those who are doctors or lawyers. Nobody wants to paint us all with those brushes. They want to find this one over here or that one over there who are fitting the stereotypes and paint us with that brush. So my appeal to my sisters is this: don't confirm the stereotypes. When you see that a lot of our brothers are taking to the internet and they're saying that black women are loud, black women are bad mothers, black women don't know how to do this, they don't know how to do that, all they want to do is wear weave and party and hang out, and they mistreat black men, and you know, all these other stereotypes, and they're angry. There's one of the ones that I can't stand, the angry black woman syndrome is what they call it. Syndrome, like it's a disease. The reason I don't like that one is because black people in general, men and women, we have a lot to be angry about. And so for you to say the angry black woman syndrome, that's one stereotype that I can just say thumbs down to. Because when you have been through what so-called black women have been through in this world, not just in this country, but in this world, then you would understand why some days we just don't feel like smiling. You see? Some days we just don't feel like smiling. But for the world to think that we're supposed to take the abuse that we get and that we're supposed to take it with a smile, it's like, get real. Okay, now back to the stereotypes. Now, if there is anything about you that fits any of these stereotypes, I think self-examination is what we should do as so-called black women. I'm so glad to see that a lot of our sisters are starting to say, away with the perms. I'm going to embrace the natural me. I'm going to let my hair grow. I'm going to let my hair be on the forefront. Not Becky's hair, not some hair from Indonesia, not some Moroccan hair, none of that, but my hair. My kinky, curly, nappy hair. There's nothing wrong with our hair. The world has taught us so many things about ourselves that have all been lies. They have told us that our black is not beautiful. I even had a Caucasian come on one of my videos and say that we are just jealous of white people. And they also said that we have, the reason our skin is dark is because of the curse of Cain, and that's why we can't absorb vitamin D, and we're just jealous of them because of that. I'm like, oh my goodness, the delusions have gone through the roof. Melanin is a blessing. It is a blessing. But because they have been like bullies for so long, they want to keep on taunting you with the same nonsense. And many of us are starting to wake up to the fact, look, you are out of your mind if you think I'm jealous of having melanin. But see, they want to taunt us because you have a large population of black people around the world now who have bought into this ignorance. And so they are bleaching away their melanin. They're literally killing themselves from the outside in. They put this cream on the outside, and their insides are screaming, "What are you doing to me?" Because they've listened to those statements about black skin being a curse, when in reality, melanin is our friend. In reality, melanin is our friend. And so to tell us that it's a curse is a bald-faced lie, because the sun is the enemy of those who don't have melanin. And so they want to do all that they can to convince you that what you have is nothing and what they have is so great. So then explain to me, why are they trying to tan? And why are they trying to get darker? You see, so that's enough about the skin tone and the skin bleaching, but look at some of the other stereotypes that many of our sisters are fitting into. Everyone wants to say that we're not the best mothers. And I find that very funny when I look around in this world and I see the spoiled brats of the world. I see the ones who are going into theaters and schools shooting up innocent people. And I see the ones who go into colleges and just slaughtering innocent people. When I see many of the crimes around this world that have been perpetuated on every continent, and yet folk want to say that black women are not good mothers. You want to take, again, that small demographic over here who may fit that stereotype, and you want to apply that to all of us. The majority of the so-called black women I know are good mothers. It depends on what circles you run in. But don't tell me that you think all of the Beckys of the world are good mothers. Don't tell me you believe that. Because if you believe that, then please explain to me what Casey Anthony represents. And so many others, so many others. Bottom line is, you have certain kinds of women in all races, but people like to try to project it all on so-called black women. And so since they are doing that, since they are requiring more of us, we don't need to fit into these negative stereotypes. What we need to do is check ourselves, put ourselves in check, make sure can't no one accuse us of the things that people are using to demonize us. Now, as for our brothers who want to say all of these things that black women don't support their men, it's almost nothing you can do in situations like that, because the kind of support they're looking for that Becky support. I talked about this before, where she will let her man do whatever he wants. Whatever trash and dirt he wants, she stands by her man. And you have a lot of black women who ain't doing that. So if you all want to judge us, if you so-called black men want to judge us based on us not doing what Becky does, which is supporting you in your nonsense, oh well, oh well. Because we have a mandate from the Most High first. We have a mandate from the Most High first to do His will. And His will is to please Him. And if you have a man who's trying to get you to go against the Most High in favor of what he wants, then you need to let that person go. You need to let that person go and keep it moving. I'm so grateful that the truth is out about so many different things. And many of us are starting to wake up to this truth. And we are starting to shun the lies. But even with that, we have to shun the stereotypes, okay? If there's any particular stereotype you've been accused of, examine yourself and make sure there is nothing a person can do to apply that to you. Make sure there is nothing a person can say to put that or project that towards your direction. Make sure that your life represents what a virtuous woman's life should represent. And if someone has a problem with, I'll give you some examples. A lot of people, a lot of men in particular, want to say that a virtuous woman is someone who's just so quiet and she just keeps the house so clean and tidy, and she cooks for him and she makes sure his bath water is ran every day at 5 o'clock and all this stuff. She massages his toes. For him, that kind of man, a virtuous woman, is all about him and him alone, okay? Taking care of his needs. This man really don't want a biblical virtuous woman, okay? Because a biblical virtuous woman has so many more deeds than just standing by her man, okay? This woman considers a field and she buys it. This woman has a business and she's operating it. She takes care of her household. She takes care of her children. She takes care of her husband. And guess what? She even takes care of her animals if she have them. She sees to it that everyone in her household is taken care of. And she even goes to the marketplace and sells her goods. Okay? But all these men who want this quiet woman who only tends to his needs. I mean, if that's the kind of woman you have, more power to you. Wonderful. But don't look at those who may have a woman who is a little bit more involved in life and living and doing things. Don't look at that brother and say that his woman is not being a true virtuous woman, because then you are going against what the scripture actually says. Read that whole passage, okay? All of this stuff about a woman just being barefoot and pregnant all the time, that came from men and men alone, not from the word of Yah, okay? So with my sisters, I just want to encourage you to be the best that you can be in Yah, making sure that you are upholding Torah more than anything, because a lot of what our men are trying to get us to uphold is not Torah, okay? Is what they want. And this is why we did a video, what to do before you say I do, because many sisters are finding themselves in these traps and snares that causes them to live in a life of anguish and bitterness towards their husband rather than love and compassion, because he has put them in a situation to where they don't feel loved, they don't feel any type of compassion coming from him, and all they feel is abuse and persecution. So before you say I do, make sure that this man is not just someone who's going to please you sexually, but make sure that this man is someone who fears Yah. Men are always saying that the man is the head of the woman. But what about the part that says, and Yah is the head of man, or the Messiah is the head of man? They forget that part. They totally skip over that part. So make sure that before you allow someone to make those vows with you, or convince you to make those vows because they've said some empty words and you feel lonely, make sure that you've checked this person out thoroughly. Vice versa, brothers have to check sisters out too. I'm just making a point because I'm talking to my sisters here, that we don't want to fit into those negative stereotypes. They're going to keep on coming, but make sure you ain't fitting into it. Make sure that you're doing all that you can do to be the best that you can be. And with that, sisters, I'm going to say shalom.